There we go. All right, now the recording is started. Um, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our last fireside chat of the year. Here we have Jeryce. I'm gonna let you pronounce your last name because I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm not taking them chances. Mm-mm.
It's
Not while the
recorded. You
recording
can
starts.
try. You can try, man.
Nah, you're not setting me up right after I start the recording. Nah.
Oh yeah,
Jeryce,
it's
if you want to introduce yourself for everyone.
yeah, sure. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Jeryce Dianingana. So I'm a senior world artist currently at EA on Battlefield 6, and but it's been close to 10 years that I'm doing that kind of role. Like building environment for games, and sometimes a little bit when I have the time on the side on animation.
Character animation as well.
Just move like short films, like for
Oh,
example the Kizazimoto who was on Disney Plus.
okay. That is really impressive. Really, just because like those are usually like totally separate disciplines. Like environment artists are just kind of doing environments and not jumping into animations.
Yeah, no, yeah, like jumping from games to animation, that was surprisingly not too bad. It's like there is a lot of different things, but they are understandable. Like if you've been doing that a lot, a lot of time environment, like video games environment, like to translate those skills into animation, it's possible.
Okay, very nice. So when you get hired to work on Black Panther 3, you gonna let us know, right? Like
I mean, if they call me, yeah. If they call.
you gonna let us know, right? Like we gonna get the insider details, right?
No, of course, of course.
So, to start us off, since obviously we want to talk about like your experience in terms of like designing worlds that like like feel like they're really like particular to a culture. Oh, it's great. Charles is here because he was our previous chat, fireside chat speaker about designing characters specific to a
Hmm.
culture. So, to get us started, what does designing like a world true to its culture mean to you?
Yeah, to me, how can I explain that? I think it's from not from history, but from from experience, from culture. From when I say culture, it's like from what you're experienced in your life.
Yeah.
Not only that, because it's not only because you've been born in it that you can't make something culturally appropriate, like a proper cultural thing. Like from when I my best example always is like Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yote. Like it's a team in America, and they make something culturally good. Like Japanese people loves it, and they even gave them like I don't remember what they gave to them, but they gave them something like a recognition thing. And so yeah, but so I would say two things. There is taking experience from your life, what you saw growing up, or what you're currently experiencing as an artist. And second, I would say just proper research. And when I say research, I include asking the right question to the right people, like consulting and stuff like that. So yeah, that the 2 points I would say from experience, from your own experience, and second from proper research.
Okay. So like digging into the research a little bit, do you have like preferred places where you go to for research, even if it's like finding people, finding like sources of text?
Yeah, I mean, for me the best is when I'm there. Like when I'm in Congo, for example, that's the or Senegal or other African countries. That's the best. But the easiest and the most efficient, is you know um, um, internet. Usually, I go to some museum websites, or I get this website called African Gallery, where they have a lot of artifact, and they really explain them well. The name, the function of them, and the third thing would be books. A lot. I have a lot of books, like a lot of, like I can see what now on my desk. Yeah, I have a lot of books. So yeah, research on internet, books, and research like on sites. When you're there.
Okay. Also, like location shoots. So you're going out taking photographs to bring back and use that as
Oh
your
yeah.
like on site. Okay. Oh, like yeah,
Oh
just
yeah.
like film. Okay, your location shoots. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah, I have a lot. I got some folders, on my drives. When I go to
Yeah.
some places, for example, last time I went to Congo or Senegal, and I just the album is just sometimes 3-minute videos of one tree.
Okay.
I need to see if I can find those things real quick. That's funny. And yeah,
That's cool. Well, I mean, I feel like that probably lends itself very well when you're trying to do things like foliage. It's like, no, like this tree in this particular place doesn't look the same as trees in other countries, and like having that detail to be like the texture is different.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of things. I think, I was talking with some other coworkers, artists, to know the feeling of it, like when you touch it, helps a lot as well.
Okay.
To touch things, like to feel it with your hands, that helps really like a lot. It doesn't seems that way, but yeah, it helps.
Okay. Like when it's time to do materials, and then you have an understanding of like, well, this is what it feels in my hand. So like when people look at it, it's like this is what it should like convey to them mentally, even though they don't have the opportunity to touch it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, like this type of materials, the dents on what you're looking on the house or whatever, it's not, it's not that deep. But when you have clay, when you like, traditional way of making houses in some part of Africa, like West Africa, Mali, for example, when they put clay on those traditional houses, like, the movement of the hand, how deep, like how deep, that, like the movement of the hand creates those relief
Right.
on the house,
Yeah.
that counts.
Yeah. As opposed to using like a tool for like even just the fact that they're using their hand like creates like a different
Yeah.
look on the outside. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I
So
can
when
even
you're getting it, oh, you looking for them? You think you found it?
yeah, I found some stuff, like if I share my screen,
Oh
the
man.
OneDrive, I got those. That's my, you know recent folder, like pictures Africa with Senegal, Congo, or
Oh, okay.
Ivory Coast. So, for example, if I go to Congo, 23, I get those folders like plants, name of some villages, discussions when I talk with some people, roads, the river. So, for example, if I take plant, you know, you're gonna find, stuff like this.
Yeah. Oh, I am loving this level of detail. Yep. Yeah, this is like yeah, like proper location shoots. This is awesome.
Yeah. So, taking time to, yeah, to really like, how the leaves feels and how, the bark of the tree or everything. I'm trying to take everything.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like these are the details. Like no, like seeing you have photos of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, no,
Yeah, so yeah, that kind of photo references, yeah, that helps so much, man.
yeah,
That's yeah, night and day when I went there 2 years ago, and still had a sometimes I have a lot of questions, because when I was going there before, it wasn't as really as an artist. It was just, for fun or seeing family. But as an artist,
yeah,
you spend the time differently there,
yeah. Do
like
you,
spending times on trees generally.
do you feel like you see the difference in your work versus when you have these references versus when you don't?
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, yes, yes. Just for example, sometime you're watching on internet and you're trying to find other pictures that are not from the same location and trying to tie them together. For example, you're seeing the ground, and sometimes you don't really know how the ground transition to another texture. Like you got the ground, the red ground sometime, and then how the transition smoothly goes to the grass. Sometimes I take in photo that kind of transition, and it indicates me, how much textures or how I'm gonna do certain things,
Right.
But that's just one example. But there is so many other example that I could that I could take.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. And I see why it helps to just have so much because like when it's time to actually work, you don't know what's going to attack.
Oops, sorry.
No, you're good. It's like when it's time to actually like do the work, it's like you never know which of these like all of these photos is going to actually come in handy.
Yeah, exactly. And those things I'm using them, for everything. Um, like for example, I created some recent things last month, and I reused some of those footage of pictures to help me with with the stuff that I'm making, and I know that I'm going to reuse that in other projects, in the future.
Right.
Um, yeah, I love those. I mean, I love
Yeah.
that trip. I'm gonna go again, but yeah, that trip was wonderful.
Yeah. That's fantastic. You had a good time in that one.
Oh yeah, I had a good time, and I was really sick at the
Oh,
end.
oh, tragic. So when it gets time to actually like building the environment, is there like a
Yes.
part that you like to start with? Like maybe there's like maybe you like start with foliage or maybe you start with like core buildings. Like what do you sort of like what's the order you try and tackle things in?
The part that I love the most is creating the guide, the art guide, I would say. Yeah, I go on Miro board and start creating, just a reference board about everything,
Okay.
and that's I think that's one of the part that I like the most. And the second part, uh, I would say, wait, the blocking out the environment.
Okay.
I'm opening some stuff at the end if I can, to see if I can show some stuff. I'll share screen, entire screen. Yeah. If I take this one, for example,
Okay.
when I say blocking out, it's just, I mean, I didn't block. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be considered as a block out.
Yeah.
Trying to find the the composition that I want. So first, creating my reference board, like I know what the kind of style direction that I want to take, and then just playing with cubes. I just love it, and it's helping me so much. I wasn't doing that really properly before. Like I was just trying to directly jump into it, like starting texturing, starting modeling properly, and whatever. But when I found the good, when I really dig into the blowout phase and being happy with it, like I make that environment so fast, man. It's really useful. So you can even see, the transition between the different phases,
Yeah.
iterations, and it stays mainly the same. Like those two statues that I've put there
Yeah.
as a blockout, just till the end of the the scene. It's there,
Yeah.
you know. So from the beginning, I can really project if it's gonna. Of course, I might change maybe 40% or whatever, or 30%, but when I get this feeling when I'm playing with those blockouts, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. I'm just, I don't think anymore. I just model, and I like to be in that space when I just produce and I don't think anymore.
Yeah. I see what you mean. It's that like you have a core idea to guide you to get you started as opposed to just like making things without that sort of like north star.
Yeah.
Um So do you have any sort of like don't do this mornings on the sort of like topic of like how your general workflow like
If I was sorry.
like if you had any sort of like general warnings for people like when they're trying to like build things that feel true to a culture like avoid like make sure you avoid doing X or avoid doing Y.
With cultural things, uh, like not to skip research, I would say. Like for example, if I just take, if I like this mask or I like this symbol, and I'm gonna put that symbol in a place where it could be inappropriate.
Right.
There's a lot of beautiful things in some countries in Africa, or masks or whatever. So just doing it takes maybe 5 minutes sometimes to know what this mask means, or what's the name of this mask to avoid the typical, oh, I'm taking this mask, I'm finishing to model it, I'm going on outstation, I'm just going to call it African travel mask, you know. Just I corrected this artist one day on outstation, and she made a tiki, like a tiki Maori, or Hawaii, that kind of cultural
Yeah.
mask, and she called it African mask. And I was like, it takes maybe 2 3 minutes to know, like, to do research about that thing and know that it's not African, but uh, maybe from the Maori
Yeah.
culture or something else. But yeah, I think the first thing and the only, I mean, the first and only thing is just doing proper research. Like, you put, you have a mural board, or you have a pure ref, or like another support for your reference, and you just, oh, okay, I'm using this mask as reference. On the left I have this description of it, and even if it's not really important for the project, just to know it helps a lot, you know like, for example, there's not a lot of people, not a lot of people, um yeah, maybe, like, let's take that example. There is not a lot of people that knows that, in some African mask there is sometimes female and male mask. For example, for those chokeways, the one we're looking at right now, it's am I still, yeah, I'm still,
Yeah. You're
this
still.
one is a female mask, but there is this one who's the male one, you know and for example, if you, oh, this mask is cool, and if you think personally that it's appropriate to put it on a female kind of body, it could still work. Your creativity is doesn't have any limitation. But would it be appropriate? Not really. Would it? It would. Yeah, that kind of things.
Yeah.
Like, someone from who knows that culture would be like, oh yeah, that mask is male. Like, uh, did you made female spirit with the face of a male mask, as an example. And that person, needs to be able to explain, that choice properly. You know.
Yeah. No. And
So yeah,
I
it's
feel like,
just building defense.
yeah, and I feel like you can feel the difference when someone's done the
Yeah.
research.
Oh yeah,
Like, even like you
for
said,
sure.
like you feel like you feel the difference in your own work.
Yeah. Yeah. Even me, I might be Congolese or whatever, but I still do. I spend a lot of time in research and trying to make sure that everything is appropriate. So I can call my dad, I can call my parents, or people I know in Congo, my cousins, just to double checks on some stuff.
Yeah.
So even me, I have my own consultant, personal consultant.
Yeah. But I think even still, that's the point. Is that a good point? Is that, like, even with the, like, your family being from there, you don't just say, "Well, I'm from there. Like, I don't need to check. Like, I was born into this." You even still call your parents and be like, "Hey, like, am I actually right on this? Like, you who is there right now."
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Um, have you ever had to feel like you've had to learn, like, entirely new, like, modeling techniques when you've got into, like, trying to, like, create an environment and make sure that it looked or felt authentic, like in, like, the sculpting or the
Mm,
texturing?
New modeling technique, new. I would say not new techniques, but way of sculpting. It's not just. It's not. I would say it's not a new technique, like a new update software or whatever, but just, yeah, like the way that I sculpted before learning how to properly make some. Like, it helps a lot to know how things are made. You know, like, I'm doing a lot of masks, so sometimes I really look how sculptors do mask. How they cut into that shape, and where the residue of the sculptings lands for the texturing and stuff like that. So
Ah,
understanding how things are made helped me a lot, I would say. But
okay.
I still use the software the same way. It's just the way I'm going to tackle some shapes with my hand, with the sculpting. Just sometimes depends on knowing how the real sculptors would do it.
Ah, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say is probably like your our biggest like artistic challenge when it's trying to build a world like this?
The the big what? Sorry,
Like the biggest challenge when you're trying to build a
the
world.
biggest challenge. The biggest challenge. One of the first is to finish it. To finish it, I get yeah. Like I have an environment where it's been 2 months. I really want to finish it, but I it's just finding time. I think when you have a full time job, but at work, let's take a professional example at work. The biggest challenge. Um, yeah, there's two different challenges. So on a professional level, it's to make everyone happy, because when you're an environment artist, you have to really make everyone at the studio happy. When I say everyone, is the level design, is the art direction, the audio. Like everyone are gonna put their things into your environment.
Right.
So how steep are the stairs, for the characters and the animators? We don't want to the stairs to be too steep or to whatever. So to make everyone happy, the animation, the audio, there is how many kind of materials you have in your environment, because when we're going to walk in the space, we want the sound of mud, we want the sound of water, we want this and this and this. So
Right.
can you make us a list of, so there is a lot of people asking you things
Right.
when you're at work.
Right.
um, and on a personal level, um, apart from trying to finish those environments, um, to not make things too big. I think that's one of another challenge. To trying to keep things pretty small enough to be able to finish things. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's uh yeah, when you make an environment, there's not really any limits. You set the
Right.
limit on what you want to create, like the size of the world you want to create. So
Right.
trying to limit yourself is kind of hard sometimes, and especially where you want to put the details. Like you're gonna make a chair that is gonna be like in the background of your scene, and you're gonna spend like 3 days on like the grains of the wood on that chair, but nobody's gonna see it.
Yeah.
So trying make to put priorities on what you're doing in this environment, it's hard as well,
Right.
I would say.
I was also gonna say is that like once you've done it, or for a professional, when you finish all this work, and then the rendering engineer is like, "Oh, cool, so that's way too many triangles in this scene. You're gonna have to come in and cut this back."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, everyone making everyone happy, especially those tech people. Yeah, your scene is too much, Jeryce. You have to remove things, or too much polygons, and and then you remove polygons. The art director is not happy because it looks a little bit weird, and then yeah,
Yeah.
just making everyone happy is yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You're like in
It's
the middle of everything, and yeah,
yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
it is.
So from like a perspective of like things, because I know you love building these worlds. What like local
Yeah.
culture, location, and time period like would you really love the chance to like build a world for?
I think that I have two. I mean, I have two, but I might have a favorite.
Okay.
There is this type of like the one that I'm
Ooh.
sharing right now. It's kind of, I would put it maybe in 2050. I would say
Okay.
random 2050. Um, it's I like that period, but when I met that environment that I really love, I'm like, I kind of just want to expand more on really traditional architecture. So I think maybe I like that type of environment more, like more organic,
Yeah.
with clay, with stones, with expanding on traditional things, like less a little bit less modern, I would say. I think that's my, so it's like fantasy.
Yeah.
I think fantasy is my favorite, you know, kind of genre for African art, African inspired art. So I would put, you know, that thing that I made, I would put that in fantasy, the same as, you know, this one with the snake, like African fantasy, or just, you know, fantasy. Like, you know, people like to do, like, you know, castles and medieval Lord of the Ring type of things, and for me it's the equivalent, but in in an African setting.
Okay. I like that. And I do love all of the level of detail. Like you're sitting here saying, "Oh, but I gotta cut the detail," but you're showing your art station. I'm like, bro, there's so much detail. You didn't cut
I
detail in
don't know.
anything. You didn't.
There's I cheated so much. Like, there is stuff like that, you know, it's good for where you're looking at them. I would say that's the type of, you know, when I was talking about priority,
Yeah.
yeah, there is some stuff I wouldn't show them from a close distance to some studio if I have an interview with them, you know.
Yeah. I got you. But I'm still looking at this and I'm like, this doesn't look like he cut details. He looks like you spend those hours and then you're like, ah, I should have got some of this back after you finish it all.
No man, I cheated.
Okay. Um. So before we open up the questions, do you have any like last words of advice for any like environment artists out there?
Yeah, like I was mentoring some people, and there is always the same thing that comes up. Working with references, I don't like when people just, you know, students. I'm gonna put students or whatever. No, I feel like taking references is cheating. I just want to create from my own brain. You know, like everyone works with references. All the great, like the best, greatest artists have a muse, a reference, looking at things, you know, like going on the field and look things to be able to replicate them. So you just trying to be better by not looking at things. I would say you can do that, but when you're learning the results, you can see the result. I mean, you can see the difference before, when like before and after, when you're looking at references close enough, you know. The other thing is composition. Like, in environment, the rule of third, the rule of third, the golden ratio. Like, for example, on this image I used, it's not an environment, but you can apply it normal, you can apply that to an environment, but the golden ratio, you know, that composition grid with the spiral, we use that, we use that kind of things a lot to help us creating things, and that helped me, you know, like with the shape, the flow of the log seas and stuff like that. So rule of third is, I mean, composition grids are helps a lot. It's, you don't really have to use them, but it it's just an easy available tool. I don't see the reason why you wouldn't use, you know, that. Like I said, you can make an environment without it, but if one day you're stuck and you're like, oh, I don't understand why my image is not, you know, compelling, or you know, it's missing something. Try to put, you know, quickly rule of third. It takes 1 second, you know, to just put that on your image and see where you can improve things. You know, for example, this image, you know, rule of third. So there is like three, you know, three row. The first row is the foreground. The middle one is the background, and the top is the sky. You know, that helps separate and balancing your image. So
Yeah.
a little bit the same with this one. You know, in the first row, there's a little bit the foreground and the background and the sky. On the right section of it, there is, you know, in the middle right section, there is the dog. So that kind of things just helped so much to balance everything, you know. So yeah, use the composition grid. It helps.
Follow the rules. The rules are there for a reason. I like it. All right, so let's jump into questions. All right, let me make so
Yes.
first I see from Tim. What other sources do you usually pull inspiration from, especially for your fantasy inspired environments?
There is. I'm gonna have to share the screen again. So there is two things that I like to take as inspiration. First is Congolese art.
Okay.
because I know from the top of my head if I need some sort of specific thing for my environment, I'm like, oh yeah, in Congo we have this, in Congo we have this kind of statue, we have this kind of mask, this kind of things or whatever, and I can create something around it. And the second thing is my favorite ethnic group. It's the Dogon people. The
Okay.
Dogon people of Mali. I just fucking love it. I just like their traditional their traditional dances and what they wear for for those dances, or their architecture is just badass, like building things on cliffs, and
Yes.
at the bottom, on the top of the cliffs, or in the middle of the cliffs, or at the bottom of them. And I just have so many books about that culture, and
Yeah.
the mask, the when someone dies, and the religion of them, the cults, the spiritual things, yeah, there is so many things that I really love about that culture, and it's great. There is so many things to read about them. Like, I have 3 4 books, and I don't think it's enough. Like, I need way more.
You need a promotion so
It's
you can afford more books about the Doom.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's hard to find those books because Mali is a francophone country. So when you are, for example, in the West Coast,
Right.
most of the books are written in French or are in Europe. So to get those books is hard. So sometimes I ask my mom or whatever to buy some books in France, and sending them sending them to me. That can or I would you would have to pay double the price because that person on eBay is going to send them from whatever. So,
Right.
but yeah,
I like that. No, it's cool to see that like you have a particular like culture that you start with, and then like, all right, how can I turn this into my fantasy inspired world from this very
yeah,
specific real thing?
yeah. Like the environment that I showed you, those two are basically inspired by Dogons. Like, you can see on the right, like on the cliffs, and the houses, like the architecture on those cliffs. And yeah, it's like one of the only people doing that in Africa is the Dogon people.
Right.
And even those masks are Malian, but they're not from the Dogons. They're just from another ethnic group in Mali, but yeah, within the same country.
Okay. Question from Nick. Can you talk about a
Yeah.
time or a project you were working on that really made you grow as an artist?
Oh yeah, straight away I would say Wakongo, like this. I think that was the first big African inspired environment that I made, and I learned so much and tried to expand even that style, like that kind of African art deco, like I think that thing defined me as an artist. This one is old, like it's 8 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's still there in my mind. Like, I still keep the same codes. For example, when I made the Wakongo Hotel, this is 8, not 5 years ago. I still try to expand on what I created on the other scene to make that basically.
Yeah, I saw that. I
So
was like, wait, was that
yeah,
2017? Look how that looks. Oh, I'm like, oh my god.
the what?
No, I just saw this at 8 years ago. I'm like, Jesus, this man's been great.
No. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this scene is old. Like, it's got a lot of default and stuff that it's 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago, man.
All right. So this actually probably leads up to Charles' question. Are there any projects, professional or personal, that in hindsight you would go back and approach differently?
Um, professional, professional. I would say, um, Guardian of the Galaxy of Guardian of the Galaxy, maybe. Yeah, Guardian of the Galaxy. I would, because now I know my sculpting skills after sculpting so many masks. improved. And in Guardian of the Galaxy, there is so many alien kind of figures with like face kind of like faces that are inspired by some African things. I think I would have made things. I would have put more figures in environments. More alien looking faces or statues and such and stuff like that. I didn't back in the days on this project. I didn't really know how to make statues, so yeah, like even that kind of rock that I sculpted. Yeah, all of the rocks, they're all getting stuff in this figure stuff. I would make that way better now, but there's it's I didn't know better back in the days. I was a young artist, so that's the journey in it.
Yeah.
And
I'm just imagining someone's like, "Bro, that's so
Kizazimoto.
good," and you're just like, "Oh, it's all right. I can fix all this."
Yeah, yeah, man. And Kizazimoto, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, yeah. There's some stuff that I could make way better now for this thing, but I didn't really have much time because there was so much stuff to do, and I was just alone, and I was working as well, full time job. That was a side job, so 8 hours and then jumping into this, I didn't have much time. But I think even now, I would make things a little bit more modular, like my modularity skills to gain, like I didn't know how to gain, like save time with the way I was modeling things, so I would do that better now
Okay.
to make things more modular. Yeah,
Oh, in order to like reuse pieces of the environment around.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I still did it in a way, like for example the whole ground of that temple is like three pieces that I'm just placing everywhere. But
Right.
yeah, I could do that way better now.
Let me scroll through and see if there's any other questions I missed. Oh, here we go. Oh, it just came in from Stu. As an artist, what's been your experience like nurturing your own voice and craft while also navigating a studio job?
Hmm. My studio job. I managed to find games where I could still infuse some personal stuff. You know, like on. I think even if all the games that I worked on are not really African based, there is still some stuff that I can translate or whatever. I can still find. There is. I think there is always a way to find your you know the thing that you're really gonna enjoy or things you have facilities or trying to even infuse what you know personally as an artist into projects. I mean, that was a good example on Suicide Squad. We have Hack, and Hack is African descent, and we wanted to find the background, a holographic background, like she's a holographic entity, and we wanted to find a holographic kind of hub for her, and she had three sort of holographic environment that she could make. And since she was African descent, I was like, yeah, no, I could make you know some African environment for her quickly. And they were like, oh yeah, you sure?
I got
Yeah.
this.
I was like, yeah, they were pretty excited for it, and that was very really funny for me. If I take another example, professionally, I mean, Assassin's Creed as well. Like I made a lot of rocks on Assassin's Creed, and I mean, I didn't know much how to sculpt rocks, but I knew how rocks worked, and that was as well a little bit thanks to the Dogon tribe. Looking so much at Dogon cliffs, where they live and how studying those things helped me a lot making rocks on Assassin's Creed. But I would mostly thank one of my coworker who helped me a lot on ZBrush because I didn't know much about how to sculpt in ZBrush with the software. I just knew logically how they worked.
Okay. So it's wild
And
that
the
you're
other
showing me
was on
this.
a
Sorry, go first.
us. There was professional, and there was a second part of the question. Oh, I
Um,
forgot.
no, he was just like, how you handle like nurturing your own voice while navigating a studio job.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, no, I think I answered that. Always trying in some professional job to find tiny spots where I can infuse, what I know, and usually they're happy with it.
Yeah,
Usually.
yeah. It's funny because you just showed this stuff from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you're like, I didn't know ZBrush, and I'm like, could have fooled me.
Man, that was 7 years ago. I was a baby 3D artist, man. I didn't. Any other questions?
From Tim. If you want to avoid this one, it's totally fine. The situation with Black Panther on Marvel Rivals. If you want to skip that, it's totally fine.
I can talk about it. Yeah, that was funny because I'm going to tell you quickly how it happened. I'm looking at. I was really excited for to see the Wakanda map. So
Yeah,
the trailer just releases, and I'm directly in like 1 second because I'm watching it with some people at work. Well, who
yeah,
were on Black Panther, the other game from EA, and I'm
yeah,
seeing similar shapes from what I've made, and I was like, oh, interesting, you
yeah.
know. But the thing is because some people were like, why you didn't straight away, went to them and whatever. The thing that I said to my team and some other people, I was like, we both working on a Black Panther game, and I don't want to make a mess,
Yeah.
like a professional mess, like, oh, another guy from Black Panther is making like saying things about another Black Panther game. It's like, and basically the only thing that would suffer is Black Panther's IPs, Black Panther games, and
Right.
like, oh yeah, one studio working with Marvel is going at another studio working with Marvel, so while I was on Black Panther, I was like, you know what, let's you know let's forget about it. So um, let's just go with the flow. Basically, let's just say that yeah, they use my stuff. I participated in just let them use it or whatever. I was like just Marvel, like Marvel family stuff,
Yeah.
but that was a naive way of thinking because you're just an artist. You're just one dev. Like you just you don't. It's not that you don't matter, but you're just a dev. Like Marvel or other companies or other suits are not really gonna. I don't know how to explain that, but to not discourage people, but not that they're not gonna think much of you. But when Black Panther was cancelled, and I'm seeing way more, with the time I saw way more of my work in their work.
Right.
I got started to get even more annoyed, and I
Yeah.
was like, now I'm not working on Black Panther anymore. I lost my chance to work on the Black Panther things, to have my work on this Wakanda world. I got laid off, and there is still those people, just stealing from me, basically,
Yeah.
like one of the chance that I had, they taking that chance and they just without credits, without saying that I participated or saying, having my name on the game or whatever, you know. Uh, so I started to feel a little bit more angry with the future, and at some point I was like, what, fuck it, you know.
Like Alley Ball.
Yeah, I think it's one day I saw that they released sometime those videos about how they made the the world, like the art direction of stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that, and that was in that video that 5 months ago, like a video 5 months ago, and they showed one of the concepts. I think that was, yeah, 5 months ago, and I think in this video they show for the first time in that video the concept of Wakanda, and when I saw the concept, I was like, oh yeah, that's my stuff. And I think when I saw that video was the trigger. Basically, I saw the video, I was like, oh, you know what, yeah, we have to defend. Like we devs, we can get laid off, we can get shit on. We have to fight for ourselves, because nobody's gonna, it's not those company that's gonna do it for you.
Yeah, nah. Seeing it in the video, and they're like, "Oh, this is what the inspiration," and it's literally your art station. Like, all right, come on, man.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. But I was like, yeah, let's just make a little bit of noise, and if it goes there somewhere, fine. If it doesn't go anywhere, it's okay. I made my piece. I said my piece
Yeah.
basically. I'm not gonna find this video is so long.
Well, how long is that video? Is that like an hour?
It's a 30 minute, twenty
Okay,
six minute video. Maybe it was the other one. They have like four or five part for those videos of those videos, but maybe it was the other one.
gotcha. Actually, oh, I just missed
Yeah.
another question from Nick. When creating environments, when do you decide to like create your own assets versus like reusing like kits or free models?
To reuse free to what? So
When do you
create your own
what
asset. Oh, I only used an existing asset once,
like
and I
ever?
think it, yeah, ever, and I think it was on this one. On this one, the flower is coming from the Adobe Substance Gallery assets. So that flower, I think, is the only asset that I downloaded somewhere.
Bro,
Yeah,
what?
most of the stuff, I sculpt from scratch. I just use ZBrush and just spend time on ZBrush, chilling and sculpting things.
So that's how you decide you're doing all of it. That's an answer.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, all right, that's real impressive. Oh, another
Oh,
question from Charles. You're doing the patterns by hand.
yeah. I mean, there is easier way to do patterns and like to for it to like ways to automatize that. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, instead of searching techniques to I'm there. I have a hand. I'll just do it. You know, just do it myself.
Yeah,
That would take me the same amount of time to learn how to make it. You know, find ways to make that procedural or
yeah,
automatic or stuff like that. So I'm like,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
personal project. I have all the time I want and need. So if I was at work, it would be different. A professional thing, I would be different. But for
yeah,
personal stuff, yeah,
yeah.
who's gonna
It's fun.
complain about me taking time?
Yeah, it's funny because like, well, so Charles is a character writer, so seeing him see the mask and he's like, "Bro, what do you mean you did it by hand?"
Yeah.
Alright. So we're just gonna send Charles all of these links and be like, all right, cool. So we need you to make a character that has this much detail. You got to do it all by hand. Let me scroll
Oh,
through.
I opened the chat.
I'm saying I'm checking to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
there's no questions I missed.
Tim, you said Dogon trap very spiritually attuned culture. Yeah, I mean, almost most of sub-Saharan Africa, sometimes it's not even a religion, it's just very heavily spiritual things, Like in Congo, most of what we had before, sometimes it wasn't really religion, was just spiritual things, mostly. So yeah, more spiritual, I would say more spiritual than religion in general I would speak for, Central Africa or just Congo. But yeah, in terms for Mali, yeah, very. I wouldn't. Yeah, what they have and what they believe, I wouldn't really. I mean, now they are Muslim, Christian, and other things, but before the Christianity and the Muslim thing, was it a religion? I wouldn't call that religion, but yeah, yeah,
Right. I just dropped our station in the chat so everyone can just go through it and be like, "Bro, what do you mean this is 10 years ago?" Okay. So I think let me just quickly scroll through before I say, yeah, that looks like that's all of the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. I definitely appreciate this. It's definitely like cool to hear from you about like the details and all your work. And just all
Yeah.
of the research that you do and it comes out of the details and scaring Charles with like those details by hand of the modeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to talk about, you know, art references, Africa, if you want to see, just even if you have questions about, some places or during my, some trips or whatever. Like, for example, I was in Senegal. I have a gaming community folder here. I was just hanging out with
Wait, what?
the indie dev and the esport community in Senegal. And yeah, there is a lot, man. There is a lot out there. So, and I
Alright,
try
this
to,
this is gonna be another talk where we ask you
yeah,
about esports
that,
in Senegal. Like you just randomly dropped that at the end of the video.
yeah, sorry, but yeah, like that's some picture of that the esport even in Senegal. They're all playing League, FIFA. Um, there are one that they were playing apart from League and FIFA, maybe Valorant. I don't remember, but yeah, they were playing a lot of stuff there.
Oh, Nick, they were playing your game. You can go there to sign some autographs.
Yeah, esport in Senegal is big, and I mean in a lot of African country, like esport is there. Some people could be very surprised by that, but it's really normal there. You know, was
Yeah,
it
this
esport slash cosplay anime stuff as well. So sometimes there's people cosplaying and like came in cosplay and stuff. That was really fun.
yeah, this is definitely going to be another talk of you just telling us about esports in Senegal. 100%.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I appreciate it. Sounds like just looking through the chat, it seems like everyone else does too.
Yeah, and I mean, you have my socials, I think, or if I mean, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, our station is just the same. It's just Jeryce everywhere. Like my Instagram is just Jeryce, or Twitter as well, I think, and everywhere. So if you want to talk one day about anything or whatever, I'm just there. I'm not sure if I will reply right away, but I will try
You're
my
busy.
best.
If you're in the middle of modeling, we'll not expect an answer that night.
Yeah, when I'm modeling, I'm gone. I'm gone.
I like the honesty. It's just like it's not happening, bro.
Yeah, no.
If,
If I'm doing 3D, yeah, I'm gone.
it's like if
And
something's
yeah,
not on fire, don't call me.
oh man, yeah. Uh, team, if you're going to the Games Award in next month, if you're going, let's yeah, let's try to meet there properly instead of. I mean, we have. Yeah, we'll be around. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah,
good. We'll
yeah.
try to
Tim
do
said he
something.
got you for dinner.
Yes, a few of us will. Okay, shots on Tim.
There we go. All right, now it's in the recording, so now it's got to happen. Right.
Stop sharing.
On ahead and stop this recording. Oh wait, no, I gotta go up to the top to redo that. Scroll up.